Hey, I every time I do this, I don't know, but life has been flying since the last time I recorded, which I think was like 2 weeks ago. Um, I just feel like there's so many every day I run into like at least 5 or 6 experiences that really highlight a specific question for me, and then I spend the whole day pondering on that question or that theme, and then the next day another six, and so it's like every day is like a universe in its own. It's like a full product, and so every day contains all the human emotions. It contains pain, struggle, desire. It contains lessons. It contains anger and frustration, and so it's like when I do this every 10 days, it's like there are 10 of those balls that were fully experienced, 10 of those worlds. And so how do you pinpoint which parts? You kind of have to do this every day, which maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I should do this every day. Maybe I should do this more often. Because I think what would be helpful is if I like journaled and use that for everyday stuff, and then I use the video journal as kind of like a larger, uh, you know, big picture type of analysis, and then that would be cool. But since I don't journal, this is like my only form of both the day-to-day journaling as well as the big picture journaling. So tough. But I feel like I've really been in a good philosophy space right now. Mainly because I mean, I would say three things possibly. One, four maybe. One, I had that brief stint of, I think, depression. I don't know. We'll call it that. I mean, I've never used that word before to describe my mental state ever, but for the first time, I think I like felt some glimpse of what that felt like, and so I went through that, and still am. But I reached out for help. Akash, having those calls have really jump started me in some really cool way. And so that moving to this new place, living in a very remote, isolated area, people are really nice. It's been nice. I really like living there. I went to a coffee shop a couple of days ago, and people were so nice. Everyone smiling, just better vibes. So the reason I feel like being there has just really been making me think a lot about. You should give me more space to have my brain kind of fill up. Um, an analogy I just came up with right now is I feel like your brain is meant to take up as much space as possible, and that's like creativity and ideas. But it's like with stress and work and everything, it just kind of just limits it down to just like inside of your head. And I think that's when it can be so constricting in some ways. Okay, so got those two. I've been listening to the Philosophize This podcast when I'm driving. I feel like that one has just been. It's nice to. I know, obvious. I mean, look, two multiple things. I'm gonna lay down. I'm also in New York right now, which is funny. Okay, so talking in all, this is a cool way to just be like, I'm alive. More than anything else, like even if it's not capturing some idea or whatever, it's like this is a moment in time in which I'm alive, and these video journals are just acknowledging that it captures, video captures me, the essence of me in a certain way for this moment. So maybe the way to go about these video journals is not necessarily to recap anything, but I can just like bring up anything that I've been thinking about and just talk about it. And so it offers in that way. The thing is, you have to, again, with the art and journal thing, what is the point of this? Why are you doing this? And I think maybe we can talk about that today. Why? Is it to watch over again? Okay, so there's multiple elements. I personally, I feel like when I don't watch the talking ones, I watch the dancing videos, the ones that I do, but I don't watch like the ones where I talk, but I do occasionally. But that comes from a place of it makes me feel good. But why? I mean, obviously, right? I think anytime I answer it makes me feel good. The next question obviously is why, but it does make me, so it does make me feel good that, oh, like look at that, Gautam struggling. That means I can get through whatever I'm going through now. In that way, rewatching these help. But then if the goal is to like rewatch it, I think that creates perverse incentives towards what I'm saying. And so maybe the point is I should never watch these videos again. And you just create them. That means you're creating them just to get off your head and just store it somewhere. And it's like I don't even want to think about what happens to it. I'm just storing it on this. I'm capturing this moment and whatever's in my brain, storing it, and whatever it happens to, it happens to. But that's not my issue. It's just getting it out of here to there. Okay, then the question becomes why post it? Why not just videotape these and then delete them? Right? I mean, yeah, why storm? So I guess this is what the episode yesterday was talking about. It was like how we tell ourselves these narratives to make sense of our life. And so this is a narrative that I'm telling myself, oh, by capturing the way you think, that means something. Oh, like that. It's important for some reason. It's a narrative you've told yourself. Which is not to say that all narratives are wrong. It's just to say think critically about the narrative that you tell yourself. And so for everything you do, there's a narrative behind it that helps you navigate the world. And so this idea that, oh, if I post this, and so what is like the real thing is you shouldn't do this. The real thing is you shouldn't do anything except live in the day. All of this other stuff is for other perverse reasons, and you know that. Perhaps why it might be hard to do this. So why not make these videos private? Because in my head, I've told the story that I want to live in a world where everyone genuinely shares their darkest side. I want everyone to share their dark thoughts. I want everyone to share, like, if all we do is put up a cover and we interact through that cover, we just continue to function in this disconnected way because you're not connected. Even if you have friends and you're connected, it's not to your whole self. And so to me, connection looks like I want you to know all the sides of me. I want you to know the thoughts that I wish I didn't have. I want you to know the actions that I've regretted. I want you to know because that's me. That all those things make, I guess, I mean, whole other conversation. Who is you? But and so through this, I hope that it inspires. And it's weird to say these things, but I'm saying it out loud. Like I want to inspire. Maybe what if one day? I guess this is like crazy, but I guess yeah, like let's say it then. Yeah, maybe one day, just like how Anne Frank's journals, like uh, became a big deal. What if like we're going through our own time right now, a time of, and maybe 1,000 years from now, they're like we want to get an accurate depiction of what life was like then, and we want to understand like what their mental state was, and maybe by like giving a genuine expression of my thoughts and ideas, like perhaps they can learn something about our time. And so I guess that's my perverse incentive towards doing this because that's a story I tell myself. What is the likelihood some alien planet of the future is going to watch these stupid ass videos? No way. But I told myself that narrative. So maybe we should share the narratives that we think. And I guess when you say them, it becomes evident how ridiculous your narrative is. It's not likely. It's a very egocentric idea of why I do this. So I want to, after listening to that podcast, I just want to keep that in mind. Just like, what are the narratives that I'm telling myself that makes a certain action that I do seem worthwhile to do? But this was so far genuine. I feel like, to the best of my knowledge. But then it's always one level. Why did I say what I just said right now? The question becomes, can you be genuine when you are conscious of the fact that it will or at some point will be perceived? Can true genuine whatever, can true genuineness only be achieved if you genuinely are, that can true genuineness only be achieved if you not only are not conscious of being perceived, but also you don't expect to ever be perceived. My boss texted me. Let's see what she said. We're good. Okay, so I'll say this. I'm in a point in my life right now where I think I'm seeing things for what they are more. And it's hard to like this has definitely been the most real I have been with myself, true to myself. Like, I just feel like the point of contention for me is I'm living a life that does not align with the things that I believe. I'm not living a life big enough. And big enough as in I'm not acting on my fears. I'm not discovering the world. I'm not exploring. I'm limiting myself. And that hurts because I don't have that much time. I don't have that much time. I'm not alive forever. I don't have time. It's a waste. Like, I feel like university is a really good place for an adult. It's so safe. It's so comfortable. You don't need that as a kid. When you're young, you need uncertainty and you need fear and bravery and courage. And the university is a perfect place for when you're 35. All your needs are met, super safe. You don't have to worry about much. Like you don't need that when you're in your 20s. Are you kidding me? You need to be in the jungle in the Amazon. Like, what? So I need to align with that. So in the places that I can, I need to instill, this whole Airbnb thing. I'm so glad I'm doing it because it's like so difficult. A great, you know, teaching person teaching. Again, that's a narrative I just told myself. I looked at myself and I said I look skinny. Now, what is the narrative behind that? If you're skinny, you're not deserving of love. If you're skinny, then you can't come off as someone who can protect their family or whatever. And I guess like when you say that narrative out loud, it's funny because even if you're bigger, it's not like you can fight. It doesn't matter. And so it's just like what's in your head, like, oh, can you feel like? And so I want to start sharing these narratives more. Why? Um, what is the narrative behind why I think the way that I do? Right? And then I think once you understand people's narratives, you understand their like I was explaining that you understand their constitution better. You understand what makes them go and why. As long as they, I guess, function rationally in that way. If they don't, then they just go based on like what they feel at that moment. But even that is a all these things are stupid, man. Like looks, all of these things are. It doesn't matter. You're just like a monkey on like some. I'm just a monkey on like a rock. Like it doesn't matter, bro. Like what the heck? So then the question, when it doesn't matter why not kill yourself, is literally the question to answer. How do you take the absurdity of life and channel it into something that's not ending your life? Yeah, that's a question. But I like the place my brain is at. I feel like I'm very intellectually stimulated the last 2 weeks, which has been nice. Like that way, I've been really intellectually stimulated, and that I do really enjoy that. Let's see what my boss said. Good. Well, my work is good. I guess I'm in a place now where life is great. Are you kidding me? All my needs are met. My life is really good right now. So it's just a mental thing. My life is great. I love it. I have the things that I need. I have the friends that I need. I have the health that I need. I have the housing. Man, life is great. And so just sit with it. And ride it. It ends. It ends. The greatness of this phase ends. This phase ends soon. What is this phase? Can we try to understand what are elements of this phase that will end soon? Maybe that's a good part too. Okay. Let's think about, you can think about a phase as a day, but you can also think about phase. Let's talk about maybe the next 7 months. At the end of these 7 months, my tenure in DC will be done. Saying at one point, if you stay alive, you're going to say, I lived in DC for 2 years. The same way you say, I lived in San Diego. I lived in DC for 2 years. A lot of my friendships, I think my friendship with Ellis will be done. I love Ellis so dearly, but I just don't think that friendship is one that is going to last. And that friendship will be done. You know, going to Georgetown, working out at Yates, playing basketball there, being in DC, man. Like, this mental state that you're in right now, you've been in the last 2, 3 weeks of high stimulation, high thinking, it ends. This phase ends. Then you will continue that elsewhere, but here it ends. And so maybe like identifying what phase you're in, what are the attributes that create that phase, might be helpful to like identify like these things end. And you can look at them and be like, oh, this is all in this phase. But there's like levels too, right? Okay, there's a phase of a decade. So what would those be? Those would be my singleness, right? Me being maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll be single then too. But I'm just saying, singleness is something that could end by the end of the decade. Not having a child could be something that's done by the end of this decade. Can you imagine, dude? Oh my god, in 8 years, the decade's 8 more years. I'm 24. By 32, I could have a child. It's possible. And so, not only singleness, but childless. You might have wealth. You might have accumulated some decent amount of wealth by then. You may be really, you may lose body parts. You may be super in shape. This hair probably won't be red. Like, this decade ends, this part of your life ends. And I can say, now that I'm in New York, another thing I'd like to share is like, I just had a thought. I'll share the thought. I was like, I really want Mylan to watch this one because I feel like I am being genuine, and to the best of my ability, I have the thought that someone or I will watch this later has not entered my head. And so I'm very like, oh, this is as close to a accurate representation of how my brain works, unconscious of perception. Um, so I was like, I want Mylan to think this, but as soon as that thought entered, now I'm aware of perception. So whatever I say now will be with the awareness of perception. But I'm going to try to push that out again. I try to stay consistent. But, with being back in New York, I just realized, you know what? I'm going to love Arden to the full of my best ability and potential, and not expect anything in return. But not only that, I'm not looking for anything more. This is not going to go anywhere. It's nothing like that. But that doesn't stop me from, why not act caring as I possibly can? And why can't I do that with many people? Like, why can't I show my full here? And when I go back, move on with my life and show that for other people. There's no need that it has to be for one person. No need that, oh, because you show this, like you expect something. And so I'm in a place where, people go through hard things and I want to be there for you. And that means sitting there through your bullshit and not calling it bullshit and really just being like, man, life is hard. Like, I hear you. We all struggle, and like it's all just in different ways. Like it can be this, two different experiences. I use like and a lot. It can be two different experiences, and you just can't undermine someone's struggle. But at the same time, you have to look at them as somebody who's trying to get better. And I think that's why I don't mind like sitting there through Arden's struggles, because I feel like she's somebody who does actually want to get better and is pretty actionable about that. I think where I sometimes have a hard time is people who just like don't actually even try to get better, and they just sit there in their like gloom, and that I think sometimes bothers me. But I think people who are like, hey, this part of my life is hard, but these are the things that I'm doing. Let me say it out loud, because you don't have to do anything about it. But I just think it's, if you don't like something and you don't do anything about it, I just feel like that says something like fundamental about your core beliefs and principles and how the way you lead your life. But that's just, again, another narrative I tell myself, and that means nothing. These are all narratives. This entire 23-minute monologue is just me explaining my narrative. These are the beliefs that I hold that makes the world make a little more sense. And so all these narratives mean nothing, and they're all wrong. So, all right. Well, this phase is in these last like 3 days. I would consider a phase in my life like 2 days at a time, but this phase has been, I enjoy. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to sit down and record this and capture this moment in my life. I love you, Gautam. And honestly, I never really like said this, but I mean, someone's watching this out there. I mean, I think every time we get like 10, 11 views, maybe no one is, but I think one person at least somewhere is watching. And so, I hope, your life is also, and this is the first time I don't know, I hope your life is also bearable, and you're able to be genuine with yourself and the other people, because what's the point if not, right? I don't know, another narrative. But love myself and you, and yeah.